Hey everyone, this is Ben once again, and welcome back to another video. This time around, I'm continuing my Star Wars reviews. Where I last left off, I talked about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And so, the one that I'm going to talk about today continues the three-part prequel trilogy of the Star Wars saga. So, the film that I'm going to talk to you about today is Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. For those that don't know, Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones is the second installment in the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and it was released in 2002. The film is once again written and directed by George Lucas, and the cast stars Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Frank Oz, Samuel L. Jackson, Ian McDiarmid, and Christopher Lee. And so, sit back, relax, and take it all in as I take you on a tour of the second installment in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. There you will learn how the film was made and how much the cast really put their efforts into bringing the characters to life. And you will also learn on how this second installment really came to be one of the best Star Wars prequel trilogies ever. And without further ado, let's get into the story of the movie and see how well this holds up. Taking place right after the end of the previous film, young Anakin Skywalker, now grown up, along with his master Obi-Wan, are all reunited with Padme. When she's in danger, Anakin takes her to Naboo for protection, but then he ends up having a nightmare that his mother is dying, so he goes to Tatooine to find her, only to discover that it's too late to save her from dying. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan finds out there's a vast clone army orchestrated by Chancellor Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious, who is planning to wipe out the Jedi and take over. Obi-Wan discovers this plan, only to then get captured by Count Dooku, aka Darth Tyrannus. This prompts Anakin and Padme to go rescue him, only for the three to end up getting captured as a result. It's up to the three heroes to not only stop the clone army, but for Anakin and Obi-Wan to stop Count Dooku before it is too late. Now, what did I think of Attack of the Clones? I really enjoyed this movie. It was a great second installment in the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and it did a really great job in picking up where the Phantom Menace left off. It also has great storytelling, great characters, all well done by a great cast. It has great direction, writing, storytelling, and amazing music score. And even the shots are very well done in this movie. And the story is very well told and very well seen. This experience is very well done. Now, just so you know, I will definitely tell you how I really liked Attack of the Clones. When I was first introduced to it, I did not quite see it in the theater since I was too young at the time. But when I was first introduced to Attack of the Clones, I first started watching it on the 2-disc DVD, where the first disc wasn't just the movie, but the second disc also had great behind-the-scenes material that focused on how the movie was made. And upon rewatching it again on Blu-ray, I discovered that it was a really great second installment in the prequel trilogy, and it did a really great job in telling an amazing story. This definitely makes Attack of the Clones worth a rewatch, and a fantastic continuation in the entire Star Wars saga. Production of Attack of the Clones began many years after the previous film, when George Lucas, along with one of the producers, Rick McCallum, decided that it would be worth continuing the events of the story. Luckily, all of the shots, as well as the visual effects, had to be done at a certain point. All of the shots that they had to do on locations were very well done, as well as allowing the characters to interact with each other. These shots are very well done, and you could tell that all this effort was put into making the second movie, making Attack of the Clones one of the best of the Star Wars movies to date. Now let's talk about the direction, writing, and the cinematography of what really makes Episode 2 Attack of the Clones quite an entertaining Star Wars movie. The movie was once again written and directed by George Lucas, who did a really great job in directing the entire scenes of the movie, as well as writing the story, giving the characters a relatability to the audience. The cinematography was done by David Tattersall, and he really did a great job in capturing the very shots of every scene. The Jedi Order is very well shot, as well as the brilliant shot of the pod race scene. He also did good in shooting the scenes of Naboo, giving quiet and peaceful moments, as well as the dark, hellish nature of Geonosis. All of those amazing shots combined give this movie one of the best feels in cinematic history. Now let's talk about the characters of the second prequel trilogy, and there you will find out exactly what makes these characters relatable and how the actors managed to portray them in the second movie. First up, we have Anakin Skywalker, a member of the Jedi Order who is no doubt the prophesied chosen one. While he has difficulty in controlling his emotions, he's able to form quite a relationship with Padme. Even though he has visions of his mother dying, he's too late to save her when he goes to Tatooine, but he ends up killing the Tusken Raiders in his anger, only to regret his own decision in the end. By the end of the movie, he doesn't just battle Dooku, but he ends up forming a relationship with Padme, and they marry in secrecy. This character is played by Hayden Christensen, who, after auditioning for the part, was really perfect to do the role of Anakin Skywalker, and it was no wonder that he was absolutely meant for the part, making Anakin one of the best characters in Star Wars history. Next up is Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is Anakin's mentor as well as a member of the Jedi Order. Although he has quite a complicated relationship with Anakin, you can tell that he just wants what's best for him. Yet at the end of the movie, it's cool to see Obi-Wan being so badass in the fighting against Count Dooku. His character is once again played by Ewan McGregor, who did really good in reprising the role of this amazing character, making Obi-Wan one of the best characters in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Next up, we have Padme Amidala. She is the love interest that no doubt forms a relationship with Anakin. And by the end of the film, she doesn't just have that relationship, but is able to fight against her own when it comes to the battles that she has to fight in. And she ends up marrying to Anakin in secrecy by the end of the movie. Her character is once again played by Natalie Portman, who really did great with playing the character of Padme. This makes her quite a fun character to watch in this film. Next up, we have Mace Windu, who is also a member of the Jedi Order. While he has his reasons for being suspicious of Anakin, you can tell that he just wants to make sure that he's doing the best that he can as a Jedi to keep Padme safe. Yet at the end of the movie, it's also cool to see him go so badass mode when it comes to doing the droid armies in battle. This character is once again played by Samuel L. Jackson, who really knocked it out of the park in doing this character, making Windu quite a fun character to watch in the Star Wars franchise. Our next character is Yoda, who is no doubt a member of the Jedi Order. While he is the wisest of the Jedi, he too knows exactly when things go wrong. Yet it's not only cool to see him battle against Dooku in the end, but it also makes him such a fun character that you can't help but like him. This guy is once again voiced by Frank Oz, who did really great with the character of Yoda, and his manner of speaking and his facial expressions make him one of the best characters in the history of Star Wars. Our next character is Chancellor Palpatine, who is no doubt quite a fantastic villain. While he is quite a bad guy that is hidden in the shadows, he tries to keep his disguise in being the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. He is played by Ian McDiarmid, who once again nails it for doing the best villain role in many Star Wars movies to date. This is where we get up to our next character, Count Dooku, aka Darth Tyrannus. He is the second apprentice of Darth Sidious, and even though he is the enemy of the Republic, he no doubt has a cool and calculating demeanor. And by the end of the movie, he's able to fight his own against Obi-Wan and Anakin. This character is played by the late Christopher Lee, who did a really fantastic job in knocking it out of the park as Count Dooku. You could tell that the actor really had a lot of fun doing the character of Dooku, making him one of the best characters in the history of all Star Wars movies to date. Our next character is C-3PO, who is no doubt one of the best characters in Star Wars history. He ends up having quite a bit of a smaller role in the movie, but he ends up helping Anakin and the rest of his own friends against the battle that he needs to be in. This character is portrayed by the late Anthony Daniels, who did a really great job with this character. This makes him quite a fun character to watch throughout all of the Star Wars movies to date. And our next character, to conclude, is no doubt C-3PO, one of the best characters in the movie. He too takes part in helping out the Jedi, Anakin and Padme, as well as basically helping out in the battle. He is portrayed by the late Kenny Baker, who did a really great job with the character of C-3PO, making him such a fun character to watch in all of the Star Wars movies. The score is once again composed by John Williams, who did really great in doing this amazing score for the second trilogy in the Star Wars prequels. And you can tell this is so fantastic, from its lighthearted moments all the way to its epic action moments, making him one of the best composers in cinematic history. When the film was first released in 2002, this movie was able to receive many fantastic praises from the critics. It became one of the best-known movies in cinematic history in all of Star Wars. Around the same time the DVDs came out, it spawned a successful VHS release, which no doubt was the great work of the success by Lucasfilm. Then, around the same time, it also released the DVD, which had the 2-disc edition of this movie, which contains the first disc, which was the film, and the second disc of the behind-the-scenes footage. Then, around the same time, the DVD was re-remastered in 2015, which proved to be a great success thanks to its brilliant quality. Then, it spawned a successful re-release on Blu-ray, which has very sharp quality, and it does really well, even to this very day. It also spawned another cool release on Blu-ray, which was the Steelbook version. This contains the best front cover art of every Star Wars film. Then it also spawned a successful 4K release, which has the 4K HD edition and the Blu-ray. All of these different releases make Attack of the Clones one of the best among all Star Wars movies. Now that I've talked about the different releases of Attack of the Clones, it is time for me now to end this video by talking of my final thoughts on the movie. Overall, Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones is a great continuation in the middle chapter of the Star Wars prequel trilogy and of the entire saga as a whole. It has great storytelling, great characters, and the direction and writing by George Lucas is very well done. And the score composed by John Williams is very well done as well, and it is often described as legendary. This entire story is brilliant to watch, and it is for that very reason why this movie is one of the best of the 3 prequels in the Star Wars saga as a whole. Well, that about wraps up the video talking about Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. I hope you really enjoyed it, And stay tuned for when I review the third and final prequel in the trilogy, which is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I hope this video was worth the watch for me reviewing the second installment, and if you really liked it, feel free to leave a like, comment, share, and/or subscribe, and stay tuned. And as always, until next time, I'll see you all later. See ya.